Page 3, condition 10 of the approval, the final configuration of, we should strike the retention basin at. It should be the final configuration of the corner of Bridge Road and Angle Street shall return to Plan Commission for review and approval, because we agreed at the meeting it didn't necessarily have to be a bio basin. There were a lot of options they could propose for that corner.
Okay.
Page 4. Condition 5, the applicant shall submit a landscape plan for the tree islands to Plan Commission, not strike the tree islands. We wanted a landscape plan submitted, and that would include more than just the tree islands. We specifically talked about some areas where some canopy trees could go outside of those. So the way that was written, it would restrict it to just tree islands. Page 5, middle paragraph, commission members all agreed that. Down to the third headlight, it says Ms. Fallett, Mr. Homburg, and others commented that the landscaping did not have to be a full hedge. Strike my name from that. I think I was the one that said it should be a full hedge.
Right. And I said it didn't, so if you're gonna.
But it says in others, it just,
Right. I have to have my
I
name.
shouldn't be on that one. And then on page 6, the B, the second to last paragraph about the new tree islands, and it talks about the landscaping. The information's there, Doug, but it says at the end, there's discussion about the outlot would have more landscaping, but it should be tied right into where we said it didn't have enough points. And one reason we agreed with that was because we would be requiring additional landscaping in outlots instead of, having it separate. So it has the right context. Because there are a number of us that said, it's okay knowing that we're going to require more when you're up by the frontage.
Got it.
Okay. Anything else?
Clear that.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes as amended, say aye.
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 Opposed, the minutes carry. Is there anyone here, I'll move to the appearance section. Is there anyone here that is here to appear this evening on something that is not on the agenda for public hearing tonight?
Not live.
Do you, Doug, do you see anybody there, or is there anybody in the room?
Nobody in the room, and I believe everybody on Zoom is tied to an application as well.
Thank you very much. Then we'll close the appearance section. There is no unfinished business. We'll move to new business, number 6A, public hearing on the request by Dave Jones, Inc., represented by Stein Art Studio for approval of a new comprehensive sign plan at 2101 Industrial Drive, 2225 Kilgus Road, 2251 Kilgus Road, and 2300 Kilgus Road. Case number S-009-2022. Welcome to those of you representing.
Chris Homburg has his hand raised in the room.
Madam Chair, I have to abstain. We're working on the project site.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Whoever is here to speak to the sign package before us, please go ahead.
All right. Hello, everyone. Dan Yoder with Stein Art Studio here. Should I share my screen, or are you guys I've got the package up here.
Well, we do have the packet, but we do have the public that likes to see what's going on as well. So if you'd like to, Doug can make you host so that you can share your screen.
All right.
Doesn't mean you have to do every nitty gritty detail, but.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay. And I think we can see that there. Okay, so when Dave Jones approached us about their training center, we knew we wanted to take a more comprehensive look at all the locations that Dave Jones has here, and try to bring some cohesiveness and kind of have create more of a campus feel. Dave Jones has just over 500 employees and intends on hiring more. And so getting them to the training center and also making sure there's no confusion with some of the other buildings that they have there. That was very important when we started in on the design. So as we moved down, we did redesign them a new anchor monument sign. Real nice high-end sign, individual letters mounted on kind of this plumbing pipe feature. And then as we move down, we have some directional signage that will go, as we showed on the site plan there, at the various different locations that Dave Jones has. This one we're looking at here is for the training center. And we have one single round directional entry sign. And you're seeing a little bit of the wall signage that we're proposing and talking about this evening. So on this side of the building, what we wanted to do is we have right here, we have the Dave Jones signage. That's 62 square feet, individual channel letters. And then we have this kind of subtle watermark logo feature that's just a tone on tone on the building that is basically a treatment of the exterior building material, which is the siding. And so we're doing a very subtle tonal look with this logo. And then we also have this subtle light feature, if you will, more of an architectural element that we have that basically ties the signage together and gives an architectural look on the building that does lead all the way around. As we get around the building here, you'll see to the entrance on this side of the building. And basically this is going to be a soft red glow. So for the wall signage, that's what we're looking at. And for this particular location, the training center, the Dave Jones Inc. letters on all sides, the ground directional, and this lettering here does meet the 150 square foot total requirement. And so I think we're all in line there. We just want to be looking at some of these architecturally, the treatment of the logo and this subtle light bar. As we go, one thing I wanted to mention too, in regards to the rest of Dave Jones signage on the property, just so you guys are aware, or on the properties, he is doing an update on the wall sign for this one so that everything does look cohesive. And again, we have these cohesive directional drive entry signs located at the other locations. I think that pretty much wraps it up. I'm here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak during the public hearing of this particular application? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and move to 6B, consideration of action on the request by Dave Jones Inc., represented by Sign Art Studio, for approval of a new comprehensive sign package plan at 2101 Industrial Drive, 2225 Gilchrist Road, 2251 Gilchrist Road, and 2300 Gilchrist Road. Case number S-009-2022. Doug, would you like to go ahead?
Thank you. So as mentioned, the application here is for a comprehensive sign plan for Dave Jones Corporate Campus. The zoning permit for the training center at 2101 Industrial Drive was approved earlier this year in March and included a condition of approval that signage returned to the Plan Commission. All told, there are 9 signs that are included as part of this: the monument sign, the 4 directional, as well as the 4 wall signs. The monument sign itself, the code for the Community Design District, CDD, allows for monument signs with a maximum area of 60 square feet and 5 feet in height. The monument sign is just under 4 feet tall and 60 square feet in area, and so it does meet the code requirements. And city staff was working with the applicant to make sure that that was the case, so that has been revised to meet the code. It should be set back at least 15 feet from the curb face, which is not immediately apparent on the plans. And also, as typical, we will be looking for some, in other cases, have looked for landscaping plans, to be done with those, most likely with city staff approval. The on-site directional signs, there are 4 of those, each directing to one of the different buildings on campus. The area for those themselves are about 12 square feet, but the signage is about 4, where the text is, with the logo to be just under 1 square foot. It appears, it's not fully shown on the plans, but it appears to measure out that way. There are some adjustments here for the adjacent grade, but approximately they're about 4 feet tall, which does meet the code. They are very similar to those that were approved at the One City schools, and actually 1 foot shorter in height. And it is mentioned in the application that these are for both vehicular and pedestrian. So city staff feels that they meet the intent of that as a wayfinding for both the vehicle and on foot. The wall signs, as mentioned, they're allowed a total of 150 square feet for those. The total of square footage for the illuminated signs is 150 square feet. But as mentioned, there is also the two-tone, the D, the logo itself. That is something to be discussed by the commission. It is not going to be illuminated, and it is, I think the subtlety of that and the intent is something to be discussed if this is appropriate, or if it should count towards the signage and possibly need an exception for that. Additionally, as proposed, there are light bars that tie everything together. It is a 4-inch light bar that uses LED lights. Reviewing the sign code, the code does not regulate building colors and lighting, which do not contain a commercial message or logo. So city staff is looking for the commission to just discuss these, and if they're comfortable allowing them, potentially with the typical glare condition that would go for any lighting. With that said, staff recommendation is approval of the CSP with the 3 findings of fact and 4 conditions of approval as listed in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. So I have the unfortunate task of calling on people without being able to see the room. So I'm going to call on Alder Holmquist to start, because he's the only person that I can see outside of Doug. So Brian, if you could go ahead and start, that would be great.
Sure. I think the monument sign looks fine and it fits within, and I'm okay with the landscaping plan coming back for staff approval. On-site directional signs, I was just looking at those. They meet the height requirement. Really where it's coming from is the width of the base as it goes up. And actually, I'm okay with the signs. I think they look good and they're appropriate if they're serving both purposes of both pedestrians as well as vehicular traffic. I think they look fine. One thing that I would like to hear from others is that also has the D logo kind of set back. I'm not sure if that's in the calculation that you kind of shot for. It doesn't sound like it was, so that might be one additional question that people might want to kind of chime in. I'm less worried about the D as a subtlety on the wayfinding signs, but when I get to the wall sign, which is coming up next, that one I have a little bit more of a concern regarding, even if it's paint or acrylic or vinyl, clearly it's operating as a logo, which would be added into the sign calculations. And I think with that, we have a pretty significant kind of overage on signage. So I'd like to just hear from others with how they see that kind of playing out based on past approvals. The light bar, I think, is a appropriate item to help tie the building and the signage together, and it seems to be consistent with other spots in the neighborhood. There's my feedback to start.
Great. Thank you, Brian. Could whoever is next to Brian, go ahead.
Right, I would agree with what Brian has mentioned. I would definitely count the tonal D into the signage calculation. I don't have anything else.
Okay, great. And to whoever is next to Brandon, is that Corey?
Yes, it's me. So I do like the look of this. I think it looks great. And I do think that the on-site directional signs are very appropriate, similar to like Doug suggested, the One City Schools, I really think, because you have multiple properties that are being used for different purposes, it really ties that together. So I do like that. I think as far as the landscaping, one of the things that we ask is that you consider using native plants. So when your landscaping plan goes to city staff, I would recommend that you use natives as much as possible in that. And then as far as the DJ, I like it, but so I'm fine with it actually, but if, it does exceed our sign code, so we would have to write some finding of fact for why that would be, why we would allow that to go over. So I guess I'm just wondering, is there a reason that you didn't try to tie it into the building sign in the first place?
Do you mean just in terms of, I guess in what way tie it in? As in like kind of, because I think the original design intent is that it's like a tertiary element that you're not really initially seeing from a wayfinding standpoint. It's just more of an aesthetic, a treatment to the building material, if you will, and just a subtle touch. Hence the oversize, we oversized it. They kind of call that kind of like a supersize design element, but it being very subtle, it not really having real high impact. So again, just kind of a different treatment in terms of, dimensionality. You have those channel letters that have the most dimension, and then you have this kind of subtle element in the background. So in regard to in the initial design, this is kind of the approach from, the outset. I don't know if I answered your question completely or not. But yeah, I think again, it just was meant to be a subtle treatment in the background.
Yeah, I guess if it's something that is just meant to be subtle, maybe it's not needed, especially if you have the light bar elements as well. And then you wouldn't be exceeding our sign code. And the light bars, I'm fine with that as well. I think that looks nice.
Great, thanks. Corinne, I think on the other side of Doug, did I see Chris Conrad?
Rob, not yet.
Or perhaps Rob, whoever was on the other side?
I can go.
Okay.
In general, I'm really pleased with the sign package. I like the design. I like how it ties everything together. I think everything looks very appropriate. The monument sign's great. I would agree with Crane on natives for the landscape plan. On-site directional, although the square footage technically is over for the surface area, I think the actual sign itself is very to scale, and what it's trying to communicate is done efficiently, and it goes with the overall design. The wall sign, I think, looks good as well. My take on the oversized logo is that I have no problem with it. I do have a problem with people kind of having a gross misinterpretation of the sign code to try to maximize visibility. And I don't think what this is. I think this is strictly a kind of a design element that's subtly put in there that I think doesn't take away. It's not taking advantage of trying to get a variance to get more visibility. And I think it works really well. And I think it's a nice touch. Likewise, when we make exceptions for sizes of square footage based on buildings that are much bigger, if it looks right, I have a lot more appreciation for it and leniency towards granting a variance than if it's just a sign made as large as possible just for the sake of that. And I don't think that's what's happening here. That's not how I interpret it. I have no point. That goes for the line light bars as well. In general, I think it's a very well put together signage package, and I have no issues with any of it, really.
Thank you, Rob. Now, Chris Conrad, I can see that you're next to Rob. Go ahead.
Thanks. It was only recently that I learned that Dave Jones was even in Monona, and very recently, as in like this week, today really, learning that they're so huge. I had no idea they had 500 employees. So I feel like this is a very appropriate project for them. I have no issue. Everything appears to follow the code for signage. So I'm good there. With respect to the oversized two-tone DJ logo, I have no issues with it. I think it's extremely subtle, so subtle almost really that on these renderings, I only noticed it when people started pointing it out, frankly. So I think it's kind of cool. And I'm good.
Thank you, Chris. Susan Cox.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a lot to add. I think the whole package looks great, and I don't have a concern about the D. I do think we need, because in the past, we have considered logos as part of the sign, so I don't think we can say it isn't. But I think we could write an exception. I think it adds to the total look. I mean, it does look like an architectural feature, the way it drops down a little bit from the red. So I like it. I mean, I think it looks fine. And the directional sign, same thing. It is, there are several buildings and it's a confusing area. And I think all of this sign package taken together looks really nice and clarifies where the buildings are. So I think the whole thing is good. The ones I actually had some initial concern about were the directional ones, but when I drove out there and looked at it, I thought, I actually like those and I like the look of them, kind of in the same way with as one city. I think it's good. So I guess the only thing is I would make a finding of fact, like write an exception to why we're allowing the D if we choose to do that.
Okay, thank you, Susan. With that, unless there are any other comments by members, I will take a motion. Someone would like to make a motion.
I'll move approval with the recommendations by staff with the addition of a finding of fact regarding the site has multiple buildings on a single campus, and the watermark logo is utilized to indicate the collection of buildings as part of this single campus, and remove it from the finding of fact 2. Well, you could actually leave that in, which says those non-illuminated logos have been removed from the calculation. So I think that stays just fine.
Okay. Thank you. So I have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any other discussion?
Kareem has a hand raised.
Yes, Corinne?
We could, I guess I'll make a friendly amendment that to add that the non-illuminated logo is a design element and has been removed, as opposed to, let's see, is a design element. Maybe we don't need that in there. For consideration, to add that language. I also was wondering if we need to add a finding of fact 4, because we are approving larger on-site directional signs, that we could make a finding of fact that because the wayfaring signs are for both pedestrian and vehicle, the scale is appropriate to help navigate the campus.
Sounds good to me. We could add in the design element to the.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we should do that, just because in the past, we've had people ask if they can paint their name on the side as a decorative, and we didn't let them do it. And I
just leave it as written.
I just think leave it as written is better,
Okay.
personally. I just think it muddies it a little bit to do that. So I thought we already have a finding of fact 4, don't we? Brian, wasn't yours 4? And then 5
Yeah,
would be,
this
5 would be the way, 5 would be, okay, the directional, okay. Otherwise, the directional, that sounds fine to me. Explain why.
So we've added a 5th finding of facts. Is that right?
Correct.
And we're leaving, in other words, are you accepting Corinne's recommendation for that?
Yes.
Okay, and then, but as it relates to the other, we're sticking with the original amendment,
Correct.
or we're sorry, the original motion.
Yeah. So 4 is staying as is, 5 is adding the concept of the directional signs.
Okay, thank you. I want to make sure that everybody understands. So we have a motion and we have a second.
Well, I accepted the friendly amendment. Who was the second?
Okay. And
Rob's good with it?
Yeah,
All right. Yeah, so we're
you're
good
good
here.
with Rob? Okay,
yes.
any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Wait, can I clarify? So the friendly amendment, does that include the language of saying that the non-illuminated?
No.
Oh, it doesn't include that. Okay,
No.
then I'm good with it. Okay, fine. Go ahead, Nancy.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Nay? Okay, great. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
So move to number 6C, public hearing on the request by All Rig USA, represented by Capital City Signs for approval of a new comprehensive sign plan at 6501 Monona Drive, case number S-010-2022. Whomever is here to present tonight. I don't know if they're in the room.
Oh, she's
I
muted.
assume they are.
Sorry, I can't.
Can we,
Yeah.
the community media, is the microphone on the podium, is that live?
You might need to do it on the computer.
That might echo. That's the only concern. Let's see if they can hear you.
Hello, this is Sheila Williams from Capital City Signs.
I think they're gonna come out with one. Thank you.
Let's try this one.
Can you hear
Hello?
Nancy?
Can you hear? All
Yes, I can.
right,
Perfect.
Thank you.
excellent.
Welcome again. If you
Capital
could introduce yourself to start.
I'm from Capital City Signs, representing the local installer for a Chipotle at the new development on Monona Drive there, Monona and Broadway. So I'm just here as a local installer for a national sign company. And we just want to present the sign package, which is approved by their corporate office, and seeing what you all think about it. But it's really just 2 sets of letters. And then I presented the entire sign package. A lot of that is superfluous because it doesn't require approval. But I just wanted to see the whole deal. First of all, it's just the building signs, I think is really at the forefront here. And they have 2 sets, one facing Monona Drive and one on the Broadway side. Standard Chipotle letters. And, you know, are there any questions regarding that?
Apologies. We'll actually ask questions in the next section.
Okay.
So this is your opportunity to present at this point and for the commission to listen.
The other elements are basically the drive-through elements, which do not require approval, but they're just there for your, you know, so you should take notice of the whole package. And then there is one final sign, which is a ground sign that is, we are just providing faces for, and it's the developer is supposed to be presenting the actual sign for that, and I don't have any other information on that regarding landscaping or even location of it at this point. So that will be a future project. They decided to put it in here just to confuse the issue.
Is there anything else you wanted to share? Before
That
we close the
is-
public hearing.
That is all I have to present, and I am open to any questions.
Thank you. We will close the public hearing and move to item number 6D, consideration of action on the request by Allrig USA, represented by Capital City Signs, approval of a new comprehensive sign package at 6501 Monona Drive, case number #010-2022. Doug?
Thank you. So we have another comprehensive sign plan, and this is for the future Chipotle site at 6501 Monona Drive. Includes a monument sign, wall signs, as well as warning and directional signage. The zoning permit for this was approved in November of 2021, again with the condition that this return. I will point out at the top here that the base maps here and sort of the site circulation is showing a previous layout. This has since returned to Plan Commission to discuss those elements, including the northern drive, effectively the no entry and things like that. So the sign plan was using sort of existing materials, and I think this really predates that. So I just wanted to clarify that to remove any confusion there. In terms of the signage, the wall signs themselves, each one of those is 38 square feet. And in the CDD, the Community Design District, zoning district that this is in, there's a total sign area limit of 150 square feet. The frontage of the building, with the fact that it fronts two streets, both Monona Drive and West Broadway, it does exceed the 76 square feet proposed. So the sign appears to meet the city's code. I did want to highlight the clearance bar here as well, just for discussion. The Breakaway Clearance Bar is part of the submittal. It's 9 feet tall, powder coated in corporate colors with no logos or commercial message. It's needed for the site navigation for the order pickup window that is part of the development. The sign code does not regulate traffic control measures within the right of way. This is on private property, but just felt that the commission may choose to discuss that. It may just be something that is not regulated, but I wanted to include it here. There is an on-site directional sign as well. And again, these can be a maximum of 4 square feet, maximum height of 4 feet as well. This one is proposed in the southwest corner of the Chipotle site, and it's rectangular in shape with signage on 2 of the faces. It's 4 feet in height. The digital pickup text totals approximately 2 square feet. The commission may choose to discuss here additional site signage or recommendation of that. I know that was a large discussion as part of the zoning permit itself, especially as it relates to access back to the Beltline, to West Broadway, and things like that. So that may be a discussion for future consideration. The monument signs can be a total of 60 square feet, 5 feet in height, and the applicant proposes the reuse of the existing sign. I did include the civil plans in here, which included the specs for that. The sign is still there today, as I believe it was there last week when I drove by, and the applicant here is planning to just reface that. It does meet the code, both the existing structure as well as the square footage that's proposed here at 26.7 square feet. Again, recommendation that a landscaping plan return to city staff at a later date. There is also an interior sign included in the packet, as the applicant mentioned. This is the whole package, but that will not be something that's regulated because it is not visible from the outside of the building. With that, city staff recommends approval of the proposed CSP with the finding of fact and conditions of approval as listed in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. Chris Homburg, would you like to start this one off?
Sure. I think it's a beautiful sign package. I think it's done very well. I like it. The landscape ground sign looks good. The obvious only issue is we don't have the correct site plan, and there was a distinct requirement to have that bump out, which I'm sure we have information, and have a do not enter or some way to control the traffic so it can't continue north past the first entrance to Chipotle. So we eliminate that way that bad cross traffic area that was in there. So it's rather important. Other than that, I think the signage looks great. I think it's fine if they paint the height thing, their colors. I think that I have no issue with that. I think it's really a well done sign package.
Thank you. Corey?
I was confused. I'm glad you clarified that because I felt like we were definitely missing signs. So it's hard to, I don't remember exactly what we had talked about before. So Chris has it.
I might have dug it out.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would be
That would
right.
be right here, right?
Okay.
The radius, so where that entrance is, we don't want to block that, but
Right.
once it gets by, it's just like a radius out into the middle and then
Okay.
a corner back in, and that'll allow the area for the signage.
Okay.
And I'm fine if that comes back to us for another hearing, but it's required for the place to open.
That
Yeah, I
one
can see.
sign, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they're missing two signs on the the southeast corner of the property. There's the like carryout spots, they're number 1 and number 2, and then it looks like there's little dashes at the head of the parking spaces, and I'm wondering if those are supposed to be like carryout parking
Mhm.
stalls. And if so, we need to see what those signs are going to look like and say as well. And then the only other comment I had, and this is just, I think the phrase digital pickup is a little bit odd. I didn't know if anyone, I mean, they can choose whatever they want, but like order pickup makes more sense to me. So that's just a question, I guess, if that is the language that makes the most sense to everyone else as well, or if it would be more clear to use some different words. But otherwise, I thought the signs look great. The buildings look great, so. Yeah, that's it.
I agree with the comment so far about coming back again with signs that don't appear to be included with the package. What is included, I think looks great. I actually think that the breakaway sign being, corporate colors will actually look nicer than, your standard yellow. It'll be, less of an eyesore. So yeah, if we had a chance to see the other signs, I think what's here looks great.
Great, thank you. I believe Brian's next. Is that right?
Yep. I agree, coming back with the one additional sign. The signs that are here, I think are a well done package. The DL2, which is the triangular sign, would have some changes based on what we're discussing that you
The
are
site
a part
plan,
of.
the new site plan, yes.
Yeah, so I think I would encourage us not to approve the sign package without DL2 approval. To be able to come back with the bump out as well as the DL2. And then I'm not sure if you're able to speak to I think it's the stacking of the 1 and 2. If their orders weren't ready, they were going to pull those slots. If those are going to be signed, and if so, we probably want that to come back
Okay,
with those other items that
yes,
are
I
gonna
mean,
easily be part of this.
so if they're like even if a parking sign that, we have a.
Yeah, if it's a permanent
Parking
sign.
doesn't person, okay.
Any sign.
Other than that, I think it's well done.
I believe Rob is next.
Yeah, in general, I think it looks really good. Just to be clear, there's no south elevation wall sign. It just says south elevation. Doesn't seem to match, but I think it's just a mislabel. 3.0.
Are you good, Rob?
In regards to the missing sign, does that have to come back to plan commission, or is this something that can be approved by staff? Is it?
I believe it should come back. It was pretty critical to the circulation on that site, and we wanted them to come back and show us exactly how they were doing that curve and with the sign in there. And if we don't do it right, well, let's put it this way. I hope they're really, really successful. And if they are, there's gonna be a lot of traffic and that would be a nightmare. If there's not a lot of traffic there, it's not a big deal, but hopefully they'll pull in the people, which they usually do.
Okay. Everything else looks fine. As far as the 1 and 2 signs that we're making them come back, there's obviously accessible parking signs. We don't review those. Typically, this seems to fall in line with EV parking signs. At Pick and Save, they have like their pickup signs, new mother sign. Like, we don't review any of that. Are we supposed to be? It doesn't seem like something we need to review if it's operational.
Are you asking me?
No, I'm asking anybody. I'm curious to know. It just doesn't seem like, as long as they're not proposing a 4 square foot sign, I think this is probably an angle iron, or whatever signpost. But maybe better to be safe since they're coming back, I guess. That's my 2 cents.
Well, I can, Rob, to answer your question, certainly to your point, there's been numerous locations where signs have been put up for pickup or for EVs or whatever, where we have not required approval.
If I may sort of address that as well,
Yeah.
If this is coming back for more of a holistic review, and if it is the civil engineers that are coming back with the bump out, and from memory, there are still a couple additional conditions that are outstanding too, we could bundle those together. Honestly, if I had an applicant coming in with a 1 square foot sign for an EV or for something like that, I would look to use my discretion and really, look at that administratively rather than putting it on the agenda. But if it is coming as part of a larger item and then part of a larger discussion, I think that's appropriate. But I have the same question about the regulatory signs as well. If it is just a stop sign or if it is a yield sign or something like that. Again, if it's part of the larger site circulation discussion, then I think that's one thing. But again, regulating something like that, I think could be a point worth discussing just for the future as well.
Okay, thank you, Doug. I think Susan.
Skip to me, but I don't have any questions. The sign package looks
Sorry.
good. I'm good.
Again, I don't see the whole room. Chris, go ahead.
No, I'm fine. The sign package looks great to me after having listened to everyone else's questions and comments and issues raised. I have nothing else to add. I'm good.
Okay. Susan?
And I would agree with that. I was also confused and went back and dug out the May because of the lack of the bump out and no stop sign up there. So I think that part should come back. I'm fine with leaving the DL2 sign. I guess I don't understand why we'd have it come back for that, but if that's the will of the commission, that's fine with me. I do understand the stop sign. I mean, coming back for that piece. So otherwise, I think it looks great. Short of that.
Okay.
Chris?
Just
Thank
explain
you.
the problem with
Yeah.
just to explain the problem with the DL2 sign. It tells them they can go both directions and they can't. Because the other
Okay,
directions, when we're talking
right.
about where that
Okay,
bump
well,
out is,
that-
it keeps them from going.
Well,
north.
I was confused about
Yeah.
that too, and yeah, okay, now I got it, yeah. Yeah, because that's part of what my
Right.
confusion was. I thought, well, we don't want them going that way.
Correct.
And then, so it should just be a one
Just-
sign.
Yeah,
It's
the
just-
sign's great. This just
triangular,
can't
but
tell them
just
you can
one.
also go north, because that's the
Correct.
whole point of the bump out and
Got it.
whatever.
Right.
They've got a great signage package and their corporate signage looks really nice. So I expect it
does.
won't just be a normal traffic sign that says do not enter. I expect it'll match the rest of their signage.
Right, okay, yep, that makes sense, thanks.
Okay, with that, do I have
Clarify
a,
that the digital pickup has to have a do not enter on the other side of it. No.
There was a revised site plan
Okay, yes, I didn't get these predate
that was
those.
approved that shows the problem is this traffic would compete with that traffic that came, you have to cross right here. So no, we don't want anybody coming north past this point, the Chipotle site. They can come back out, but they have to be directed that way. That's why the DL2, so saying you can go either way would be inaccurate. And this is a radius just so that they can get in the driveway for the neighbor, and then right there, a prominent something to tell them they can't come in that way. And even some sign that said Chipotle, go this way. All traffic, that would be ideal. If this DL2 just said all Chipotle traffic, not just the digital pickup.
Right, I see that now.
Because this is the traffic problem right there.
I didn't have to see.
So if that makes some
It does
sense.
make some sense, and I will go back to
And-
that.
and
They
it's-
might go back.
Right.
But
and
there's a
it's-
civil engineer
They
returning
will,
too, and that will be.
and they corporate approved the signage package. Corporate's going to want to approve what comes after this. And it would seem to me that there might be some more appropriate signage for DL2 other than digital traffic go this way. It should be Chipotle go this way. And that's why I think it'd just
Yeah,
be nice to see what their thought is if they're doing this. All we want to do is keep the traffic from having a nightmare, because they're going to be really busy.
Okay.
It seems to me, Doug, that one possibility might be for you to reach out to corporate, because if she's operating on a diagram that does not include that direction from the commission, I'm just concerned that whoever's got shovels in the ground that have nothing to do with signs I just want to make sure that what's being built is exactly what the commission had requested in terms of the traffic flow.
Absolutely. I'll be
Sounds-
reaching out. Yeah, I'll be reaching out to them tomorrow. They are on a tight construction timeline, so and this will get into the next discussion, but I will just see when they can return. They do have that punch list of other items to address as well, so getting these circulation traffic control items addressed at the same time will be important.
Thank you.
Do
I have
sorry, Chris
Go ahead.
Holbrook has his hand
Well,
raised.
I was just going to mention that with their time frame, they're talking about being open soon. And the way it is getting materials and
Right.
making signs, I would assume we would have some type of an action tonight. So the majority of these signs could be made, and just that DL2 and the additional sign could come back for review, but it would give the applicant the ability to stay on schedule.
I think with that, then I will entertain a motion.
Move approval with finding of fact as written by staff, conditions approval as written by staff, and add a condition 5 that the applicant should return with the final modified entrance and do not enter signage, as well as the final verbiage on DL2. I'll leave it at that. for now.
I'll second that.
For discussion, I
We have a
didn't.
motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Yes, I didn't add in the 2 pickup stall signs because I think it is a discussion we should have. We don't regulate stop signs unless we're saying you have to have one here because of traffic. Other than that, we don't regulate on site the handicap signs, and this is likely a real small sign. And I would agree with Doug that if they bring in a small 1 square foot sign that's typical for this, that we allow to be his discretion that comes in. Because the one thing I found is if there's some sign that say, no, this doesn't match, you're going to have to come to plan commission, then the planner has the ability to bring it in. Otherwise, he can do it administratively, and it's a lot quicker for the applicant. If it's just another one of those boring little signs. And so I didn't include that on this.
Great. I have a motion and a second. Any other comments?
Yeah, Nancy, I was just gonna follow up to that, and I agree, and with the addition of, for example, if not Chipotle, but if a place wanted to sign every single stall with a sign.
Yeah.
Would we want them to return or not? And that. There are some places that have these signs that are in front of every parking stall that I think do become a different type of nuisance. And it's not on this property. I think there are some other properties in the city that are using every stall, parking stall as an opportunity to sign, and they're not done well, which is an issue.
Totally agree. So does that go back to the planner's discretion to bring it up and bring it in the commission, or do you think it has to be on every project you look at every sign?
Probably not, and my guess is these properties I'm thinking of never actually came to Doug. So it might be maybe a code enforcement issue.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. With that, we'll move to item number 7. 7A, staff report regarding the status of development project proposals.
Yes, so economic development update, there were 2 draft term sheets that were shared by the CDA, both for the Monona Garden project as well as the Neutral project. And so they are now in the developer's hands, and that discussion will likely continue moving forward. Also, the North Point project, the one over on the White Horse project or White Horse property, will be returning to CDA for kind of an informational discussion about a potential TIF ask in August as well. So that they're thinking for the PIP for their project to most likely be coming to Plan Commission late September, but that is beginning to move forward again. And that kind of moves to the upcoming items. The August 22nd meeting is going to be pretty busy. The Neutral project will be returning for pre-hearings, and that's actually going to be pre-hearings for the GDP as well as the CSM and rezoning to kind of address all of those items together, and have them ready for potential considerations at a later date, but to have addressed each of those items in a dedicated pre-hearing. Also expecting the tenant improvements for 2101 West Broadway, as well as potential redevelopment plans for the former Rutabaga site as well. So quite a few items, and already looking to most likely push a couple things that are potential for that date into September. So it'll be a busy one.
Slindy, when you're talking about anything, update on Slindy?
There is not at the moment. City staff is trying to sort of organize a meeting with them and just have a discussion about where things stand with both CDA and Plan Commission for a future path forward, but nothing at this time.
Thank you. Any updates, discussion on diversity, equity, inclusion efforts?
Nothing from staff.
Any updates, discussion on sustainability efforts?
Not from me.
Thank you. As it relates to upcoming meetings, I just want to alert Alder Holmquist that I will not be in attendance for the August 22nd meeting. So I'm unavailable for that meeting. Plan Commission requests for information from city staff. Any requests for information? None? Okay. That being the case, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move adjournment.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all.
Is that 5 minutes edition of the